to Ethoria Channel.
What if you're already dead? What if what you call life is just the dream your consciousness creates while your real body lies somewhere, dying? Picture this. You're lying in a hospital bed. The monitor slows. Your fingers grow cold. Vision blurs. Sounds come from underwater, but something in you still watches, doesn't blink, doesn't panic, doesn't question, just observes. That which watches, that's you, but not the you you're used to being. What you'll gain: end of death terror. You'll realize the one who fears and the one who dies were never the same, deeper presence. Every moment becomes precious when you understand you're practicing dying daily freedom from false identity. You stop clinging to what you never were. Peace with uncertainty. You become friends with not knowing. Chapter 1. The Nightly Rehearsal Key. Point: sleep is death practice. You practice dying every single night, but you call it going to sleep. Do this now. Close your eyes for a moment. Take 3 deep breaths with me. In and out. In and out. In and out. Now think about what actually happens when you fall asleep. Your body becomes still, lifeless. Your thoughts fade away. Your personality dissolves. Your sense of being a separate, special person completely disappears. For all practical purposes, you die. Your family could stand over your bed, calling your name, and you wouldn't respond. You're gone, absent, in another realm entirely. Are you nothing during those hours? Are you dead? No. You're simply elsewhere. But here's what no one will tell you. Something continues. It creates entire worlds in dreams, whole identities, entire lifetimes. You have a dream body that isn't physical. You communicate with dream people who exist only in awareness. You travel through dream landscapes that have no location in space. This is exactly what happens when you die. Dr. Bruce Greyson, professor of psychiatry at the University of Virginia, has documented over 1,000 near-death experiences. In his 2021 research, he noted, patients who are clinically dead often return with information that neuroscience cannot explain. Tom, a 45-year-old engineer from Ohio, experienced cardiac arrest in 2019. He described it. I saw a light that wasn't light, but recognition. I recognized myself for the first time in my life. Here's the question that changes everything. What if the thing that continues isn't what you think it is? What if it's not some glorious, eternal soul, but something far stranger and more unsettling? What if it's the very thing you've been running from your entire life? Tonight's practice. As you fall asleep tonight, notice the moment yourself begins to dissolve. Watch how awareness shifts. Feel how the boundaries of identity start to blur. You're not trying to stay awake. You're learning to stay present during dissolution. Takeaway: awareness can continue through any transition, even the transition from life to death. Chapter 2. What your panic actually knows. Key point: fear reveals the illusion of solid identity. You might be thinking, this is beautiful philosophy, but what about the terror, the raw animal fear that grips you when you really think about dying? I hear that voice. It's the same one that whispers at 3 a.m. What if there's nothing after? What if this is all there is? Do this. Stand in front of a mirror. Look. Really look. See the lines that weren't there 5 years ago? The way your eyes have changed? The subtle shift in how you hold your mouth? You're watching yourself age in real time. Watching yourself die in slow motion. The person smiling back at you isn't the same person who smiled from this mirror yesterday. The cells that make up your face today aren't the same cells that made up your face 7 years ago. So which face is the real you? You think you are your thoughts. But right now, try to hold on to one thought. Watch how it arises, peaks, and dissolves. Where do thoughts come from? Where do they go? If you are your thoughts, then where is the you between thoughts? You think. You are your memories. But close your eyes and try to remember exactly what you had for lunch 3 Tuesdays ago. Gone, isn't it? Are you less you because that memory vanished? The panic you feel about death isn't fear of losing who you are. It's the terrifying recognition that you never knew who you were in the first place. But here's the question that will haunt you. If you're not your body, not your thoughts, not your memories, then what exactly is there to die? Morning practice, mirror practice. Every morning, spend 2 minutes looking in the mirror. Don't fix your hair or check your appearance. Just look at the one looking back. Ask, who is looking? Takeaway, the one who fears death and the one who dies might not be the same being. Chapter 3, the prison you call self. Key point, identity as consciousness trapped in stories. I need to tell you something that happened when I was 8 years old. My grandfather was dying in our house. I sat beside his bed, holding his hand while his breathing became slower and slower. And then, silence. His hand grew cold while I was still holding it. I was certain he would wake up. I waited. For an hour, my mother found me whispering in his ear, "Grandpa, come back." That was my first encounter with the truth adults never speak. Death isn't sleep. It's departure. But departure from what? And what departs? Picture this. You're stuck in traffic, engine humming, nothing moving, frustration rises, time passes, obligations wait, but something in you just watches the frustration. Doesn't judge it. Doesn't try to fix it. Just sees. Right now, you feel trapped inside a bag of skin, isolated, alone, cut off from everything and everyone else. You look out through your eyes like windows, thinking you're inside, looking out at a world that's outside. But this is the fundamental illusion. You are not in awareness. You are awareness. But here's where it gets disturbing. The awareness that's reading these words right now has no personal history. It has no preferences, no opinions, no fears. It simply witnesses. The fears belong to the character you think you are. The memories belong to the story you've been telling yourself. The desires belong to the identity you've constructed. But the awareness itself, it's the same awareness that was there when you were 5 years old, unchanged, untouched by time. It's the same awareness that watches your dreams without being in the dream. It's the same awareness that remains present whether you're happy or miserable, successful or failing, young or old. This awareness doesn't grow. It doesn't diminish. It doesn't change. And most unsettling of all, it doesn't belong to you. You belong to it. Daily practice. Who am I? Investigation. 3 times today when you feel stressed, ask, who is stressed? Keep asking until you find the awareness that watches stress rather than the one who is stressed. Takeaway. Prison of self is made of stories, and stories can end. Chapter 4. The light you've been avoiding. Key point. Death reveals what was always here. In the moment of death, something appears that you've actually seen before, but you've been running from it your entire life. A light so brilliant, so all-encompassing, that it makes the sun look like a dying candle. This isn't some mystical phenomenon appearing from outside you. This is awareness itself, finally free from the stories that have obscured it. Sarah Connor, from London, clinically dead for 12 minutes after a car accident in 2020, described it. I didn't see a tunnel. I saw that I had always been the one watching. The body was lying there, and I was. Everywhere. But here's what they don't tell you. This light isn't comforting. It's the most challenging thing you'll ever face, because it reveals the truth about every moment you've ever lived, every time you chose fear over love, every time you chose comfort over growth, every time you chose the familiar prison over the unknown freedom. You've experienced this light before, that moment of such profound peace that time seemed to stop, that flash of insight so clear it seemed to come from beyond your personal mind. That experience of love so vast, it dissolved all sense of separation. But what did you do with these experiences? You dismissed them, called them just emotions, labeled them coincidence, explained them away. The skeptic in you asks, but what? This is just brain chemistry. What if this eternal awareness is just neurons firing randomly as they die? And the light responds. Does it matter? The skeptic persists. But what if there's nothing after? What if this is all just wishful thinking? And the light asks back, what if there is nothing after? Would that change what you are right now? The light that appears at death isn't a reward for good behavior. It's the unavoidable recognition of what was always here. Daily practice. Light recognition. Notice moments of unexpected peace, clarity, or love today. Instead of dismissing them, pause and ask, what is recognizing this? Don't think your way to an answer. Just rest in the question. Take away. What you're seeking in death is available right now. Chapter 5. The Theater of Projections. Key point. Unresolved patterns create after-death experiences. Now here's where things get terrifying. If you don't recognize pure awareness as your own nature, something fascinating and horrible happens. Your mind begins to project. Just like in dreams, consciousness starts creating experiences based on your deepest patterns, fears, and beliefs. First, peaceful visions appear. Beings of incredible beauty, radiating wisdom, compassion, and love. Colors more vivid than anything you've ever seen. You might be thinking, what if I can't handle seeing these beings? Here's what the masters discovered. These aren't external gods coming to save you. They're manifestations of your own unlived potential. Every capacity for love, wisdom, clarity, and peace that you denied in yourself takes form as a luminous being. It's your unlived life appearing before you. Most people's first reaction, terror. Not because the beings are frightening, but because they represent everything you could have been but weren't. Then the peaceful visions transform. The same energies appear as wrathful deities, fierce, powerful, sometimes terrifying beings. But here's the secret. They're the same unlived potentials, now appearing as your own rage at yourself. The rage at spending your life as a fraction of what you could have been. Jennifer from Canada, 28 years old, described her experience. I met this being that was me, but unleashed. All the courage I never had. All the love I was too afraid to give. And it was angry at me. Not hateful, but disappointed. But most people only see the wrathful appearance. They see their own potential as punishment instead of invitation, and they run deeper into the illusion of limitation. Daily practice. Shadow recognition. When you feel intense emotions today, anger, fear, jealousy, ask, what unlived part of me is this showing me? Don't fix or judge. Just recognize. Take away. Death shows you everything you didn't become. Why wait for death? Chapter 6. The space where everything changes. Key point. The gap between breaths is the gap between lives. There's a moment that comes to everyone. The moment when your last breath ends, and the next breath never comes. Picture this. Emergency room. Fluorescent lights. The sound of machines going silent. Your extremities grow cold. Blood withdraws from fingers and toes. Your hearing becomes distant. Voices sound underwater. Your vision tunnels. Colors fade. Light dims. Your breath becomes irregular. Fast, then slow, then stopping for long moments, and then the final exhale. In that space between breaths, everything you've ever known dissolves. But something watches this entire process. Something that doesn't cool with the hands. Something that doesn't fade with the hearing. Something that doesn't narrow with the vision. But this observer, it's not personal. It has no investment in whether you survive or not. It watches the dissolution of your identity with the same neutral awareness that it watched your identity form. This space is not empty. It's pregnant with infinite possibility. It's the same space you've touched thousands of times. Between one thought and the next, between sleeping and waking, between breathing in and breathing out. The only difference is duration. In life, these gaps last microseconds. In death, this gap is open-ended. Most people panic in this space because the person they thought they were is nowhere to be found. But that person was always a story being told by this witnessing awareness, and stories end. But the storyteller remains. Final practice for episode 1, Gap Practice. Throughout today, notice the spaces between words when someone is speaking, between thoughts in your mind, between breaths, between one activity and the next. Rest in these gaps for just a moment each time. Don't fill them, just be there. Take away the space between this life and whatever comes next. You've been there before. Episode 1, Summary. What you discovered, you practice death every night through sleep identity, is more fragile than you imagined. Something witnesses all changes without being changed. The gap between breaths is where transformation happens. What you practiced. Conscious sleep transitions mirror investigation. Who am I? Inquiry gap awareness. The question that remains, if something in you watches everything come and go, including the fear of death itself, what happens when you finally stop running from that observer? This week's integration. Day 1, practice conscious sleep transition. Day 2, mirror practice. Who is looking? Day 3, stress investigation. Who is stressed? Day 4, light recognition in daily moments. Day 5, shadow work with intense emotions. Day 6, gap awareness practice. Day 7, integration. Journal what you've noticed. Cliffhanger for episode 2. But what happens when you finally stop running from dissolution? Next episode, we'll explore what the masters discovered when they stopped resisting the very thing everyone fears most. Coming up in episode 2, what dying teaches the living. The story of conscious departure, why most people never really start. Living the mirror that shows everything, the ultimate paradox that breaks the mind. The final question that ends everything. Subscribe now so you don't miss the conclusion of this investigation into the most important transition you'll ever make.